Greetings, everyone. It's maybe good morning for some, like where we are in England, or it can be afternoon. It depends where someone is watching us at the moment, or when they're going to be having a chance to open this video and to watch it. So, welcome to our podcast, to our regular Monday podcast. My name is Jabo Butera, and I am a co-founder and managing director of Diversity Business Incubator. Our aim is to elevate businesses and business mindset within the community where we live. In a simple term, reducing poverty. Introducing the knowledge of financial resilience and financial independence to individuals within our communities where we live. And seeing that we can be all financially independent and creating that stability, economical stability within the society. So on this journey, it's not in terms of educational or book kind of like teacher and student. This is a co-created method where everyone play a role, where your journey matters, where my journey matters. My knowledge may have an impact, and your knowledge will have also an impact. So this conversation we're having today, hopefully is going to be beneficial to someone. Hopefully it's going to be inspiring you. And hopefully it's going to give you that nudge to say, I can start my own business. That's what we'd like to see as the outcome. Having the opportunity to start your own business. So today, the conversation we're going to be talking about is about hearing from others who've walked the walk. Myself, as a managing director of Diversity Business Incubator, I'm an entrepreneur. I run several businesses, and this for the past 12, 15 years. And it's sharing this experience of how to start your own businesses. What's the journey? How is it going with the journey starting your own businesses? As well as what are the moving sand or those areas you can avoid so that you don't waste time and energy, or also you don't get discouraged on your journey to success. So what we're trying is just sharing that knowledge with you, passing on what we've seen as experience, as route, as drive, as way to get where we are today. By sharing this knowledge, we hope you're going to be able to get that courage of saying, let me start my own business as well. So today, I'm joined by a guest for us. We have a wonderful guest today. As usual, we always have guests joining us to have the conversation so they can tell us their journey. They can tell us where they come from, how did they go, how do they reach where they are today. As well as keeping that element of starting your own business and being in business, there's also that element of humanity. We are all human all the time. I might be a business person, yet I'm still a human being. I might be a doctor, a professional, whatever title is at the back of it, you are a human. So our guest today is an individual who has experience in that element of compassion, knowledge of human behavior. And then we'll be having a conversation with her. She's going to tell us her journey, but also talking about how do you embed the compassion in business. Without any further ado, let me welcome my guest of today, Dr. Sophie.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Welcome on board, Sophie. Wonderful to have you today. Can you introduce yourself? What's your name and what's the name of your company?
Yes, I'm Dr Sophie Mayhew. I'm a clinical psychologist and I'm self-employed, and my company is called Equanimity Clinical Psychology Services. And the equanimity part, I think, is a really important part of the name because it means balance or balance of emotions. So that's the type of therapy that I do. I help people to balance their emotions. And I'm based in southeast Cornwall and have a clinic in Plymouth, usually, but working from my home office at the moment.
I like that. You've touched many words: balance, life, and all the information. So we've put on the chat there for those people who want to reach out to you. Your website is there and how they can get to you. The information is there for everyone who want to find more about Dr. Sophie. So thank you very much for your time. You've given us this time to have a conversation. And I was telling our audience, we'll be having a conversation so that we can inspire someone, so that we can give that life experience we've been through, me and you, with our own life and our path in entrepreneurship, in business element, so that someone can see this is an opportunity, I can go that way as well. And I was explaining to them the element of being an entrepreneur or starting your own business. There is that element of humanity behind it as well. As you mentioned it, you're all human. You said it earlier on in our conversation. So we're going to center around that. So tell us more about your journey as to become a Dr. Sophie, to be called Dr. Sophie. What is the journey from there, and what your pedigrees and all that?
Yeah, so my journey. So I feel really old now. I've been a psychologist for 25 years. I qualified my professional doctorate in 2003. So my journey here, I did an undergraduate degree in Brighton, in the southeast of the UK, in psychology. I then worked in various jobs, getting experience as a psychologist before embarking on my doctorate at the University of Birmingham. And that was another 3 years doctoral degree. And that was fantastic. It involved a lot of hard work, but a lot of opportunities. So working across the whole of the Midlands with different people, different client groups, people of different ages, and qualified in 2003. And then I've been working as a clinical psychologist with adults since then. And I specialised in working with people with psychosis, so people that hear voices or have experiences that other people don't have, so see things other people can't see, people that are in distress, because obviously a lot of people hear things other people don't or see things other people don't, but I was working with people who were distressed by that. And then I moved down to more to my roots because I'm Cornish, so from the southwest of the UK. So I moved back to Cornwall and moved back down here in, when was it, 2007, and worked down here in Plymouth in working again with adults, but people who are in the psychiatric hospitals in Plymouth, so people who are quite poorly, very, very disadvantaged in society, and loved the people I was working with and met some fantastic people. And then I left the NHS. I worked in the NHS for 22 years, National Health Service in the UK. Left that in 2018 to set up my own business, which is what I'll be talking to you about today. So I'm still working as a clinical psychologist, but self-employed. So that's my exciting journey.
That's a very exciting journey. And I think there's an element you've omitted, you did not mention. You also published books.
Oh, well, I've published, I've published not a whole book, I've published a chapter in a book. So working with using one of the therapies I use is called compassion focused therapy. So I published a chapter describing how I worked using that with one of it's a fictitious character, but based on the work that I do with people who hear voices. And I've published an academic paper as well, looking at some of the very early work I did with compassion focused therapy with people who heard voices, who are quite frightened by them, looking at the efficacy of that approach. So yes, I've done that as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's it'll be difficult to summarize all that in this half an hour we are together. So for those who want to know more about Dr. Sophie, that link was there earlier on. Find out more, get in touch with her so you can learn more about what she's done. The more important part, what I'm enjoying here most, is that accessibility you have. Although with all these pedigrees, with all these experience, with all this long experience, you're still reachable.
Yes.
To everyone. You're still there to the community to help.
Yes.
And that's what makes the big difference. And giving you time today to have this conversation so that you can reach to someone saying it's okay, you can start your own business because I've done that journey.
Absolutely.
This is really exciting. Oh, thank you so much.
I hope the information I can share with you will be helpful today in terms of people thinking about setting up their own business, wanting to become entrepreneurs, how to make that leap, and share with you some of the difficulties and challenges I've had and how I've overcome those.
Wow, thank you so much. So that's what takes us to our next step, where you're talking about starting your own businesses. So you work for the NHS. You've done all these years of education, you've done this experience in other places, and you come to a point to say, listen, I'm going to work for myself.
Yeah.
What is that one thing, or if not two, what made you decide and go and say, listen, I'm going to work for myself?
So I think how I loved working, I loved being employed, I loved the teams that I worked with, and you know, I really enjoyed that. But I think in terms for me, starting my own business was an opportunity to be free from bureaucracy, free from being at meetings about meetings, free from lots and lots of administration work, traveling between meetings, not being in charge of my own diary. So I think for me, it's about, I wanted to move into having control of my own diary and doing work, spending more time doing the work that I enjoy. And the work that I enjoy is connecting with the clients I work with, learning about new approaches, meeting new people like yourself, you know, talking to different people, having the freedom to do that and be free from the bureaucracy, I think, was a thing that encouraged me to become self-employed.
Wow, thank you. There's a myth I want us to bust on today again. Do you need a lot of money to start your own business?
That's an interesting question. So no, I didn't have. So I think that's one of the things I'm going to talk about. You don't need a whole pot of money behind you. I think you need character. However, money is very helpful. So, you know, I didn't have a pot of money, but how I started my own business, I started it whilst I was still employed. So I had my income that I was earning. I reduced my hours at work to start off my own business in 2017. So I did a little bit of private work as a sole trader, and then I gradually increased that amount of work, which enabled me to take the leap and leave my paid employment. So I think it would be very naive to say you don't need any money and you can become really rich and successful. I think money is important, but no, it's not essential. I think what's more important is your commitment and passion and courage.
Thank you for that answer. That's what I wanted to burst that myth, as I was saying, because we get a lot of people saying, I haven't got, or I'm lacking money to start my own business. And I was just listening to your journey, because we say, tell us about your journey. There was no point where you said, I was stuck because I needed money. No, the whole journey was your passion. The second part was you wanted to buy your time back. You wanted that freedom. You mentioned about freedom. And then you mentioned about helping, because you want to connect. You want to have that time to, so that you're talking about the why of starting a business. It's not the how, which is more important, is the why.
Yes. Yeah, I'd agree there. I think it's absolutely the why needs to come first. It's why do you want to do this? What drives you? And I think it's about that passion, isn't it? About what are you good at, and what do you want to do more of? You know, I think that's the question to ask first, and then it's about how can I do that? And that might take some planning and some thought. But I think the first thing is, you know, is about the person behind it, isn't it?
Thank you so much. Well, for those who are listening us, for those who are following us, we've been saying this for a long time. It's the why. Why you want to start your own business is very important. Now we just heard it from yourself, from Dr. Sophie, mentioning the same. It's your reason, your purpose of starting your own business will drive you forward. The other element I want to bring when we talk about the reason or the passion or the why is the today's society, where we're looking at, compared to the previous generation, where success was defined by how accumulated wealth you've got, sometimes on the price of your own happiness and yourself. So you've accumulated the wealth, but you've lost the you, including the well-being and the health. And here comes you talking about compassionate society and compassionate to yourself as well. Can we go in that conversation? Tell us how, what's your approach in this conversation about compassionate?
I mean, this could be. So I think if you'd like to find out more about compassion, have a look on my website and my links. I've got lots of information there where you can find out a bit more. But in summary, I think compassion is a range of attributes. It's about having drawing upon. I guess it's you at your best. So if I'm thinking about compassion, it's about compassionate part of me. It's me at my best. So when I'm being able to give compassion to other people, when I'm able to receive compassion from other people, when I'm able to be kind to myself. So I think compassion is about accessing you at your best. It's about thinking in a wise, warm way that's helped you to connect with other people. It's based on information. So we were saying earlier about not going into things blind, about thinking about things, being able to have empathy for other people and sympathy, connections. So there's a lot of different attributes of compassion, but it's also about strength. So I think a compassionate action is also not always the easy option. So we're thinking about, a lot of the work I do is about helping people think about compassion for themselves. You know, it might take a lot of courage to get out of a difficult situation or to change something for the best. So I guess if you're thinking about businesses, setting up your own business might be the right thing to do for you. It might be a compassionate action, but doesn't mean to say it's an easy one, but it's one that can help you flourish, move forward.
So you are a clinical psychologist.
Yes.
Right? And then let's look at it in with on the business. If we have to take business on the table as a psychologist, if you're talking to a business,
yes,
what would you tell it?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I mean, I think I can maybe answer that in a different way. What I would tell myself, so as a psychologist, what I would tell myself is that, you know, that I wished if I looking back, I wish I'd set up my own business years ago. So I think what I tell somebody else who's setting up a business as a psychologist is don't doubt yourself. I think if you look inside yourself, look at what you're good at, what have you got to offer, what's your unique selling point, what makes you different, why come to you? You know, I think that look inside yourself, you know, and that's look at what are your passions, you know, what are you passionate about. So I say, you know, look inside yourself, and that is the core of your business. The business needs to be you. You know, it's not as you say, it's not I don't think it's very good to have a faceless business. You know, I think a successful business has you at the heart of it. So I'd say look inside yourself, be honest. What are you good at? What makes you different?
Wow, that's really, really good and well placed there. I'm so excited with this conversation. So my mind is just resting here. A young person. Let's look at a young entrepreneur, because we try to inspire as well the young entrepreneur, and I'm always do the comparison between the previous generation and the current generation, where also you have this method of hardworking and long hours, and sometimes they say business people, they just crazy, they talk to themselves, they don't sleep at night, they're worrying, it's hard work, it's a lonely place, it's all this compared to the today society, which is more like for me, the way I'm seeing it, and the today entrepreneurs, which is the more of a smooth operators, I can call, where it's not the how long hours you spend working behind the computer, but more how many hours you've banked back to spend with your family. This modern society where it's not defined by the assets you acquire or what is demonstrated externally to demonstrate how wealthy you are. So comparing, if it's a young person who want to start their own business and they taking away that energy, they want just go down the tank with it and make it happen and forgetting about themselves. As someone who's looking after well-being, always focusing on well-being, do you think in the next generation we should have the same way we have an accountant, we should be having well-being assistant or psychologist to help us around, instead of waiting until we are until we are broken to go back to you say, can you mend me?
Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. I think if you've got people listening in America, I think the culture is quite different in terms of how people view therapy. So it's the done thing in America. It's, you know, people have their therapist. You don't need to be particularly struggling at any time. You just go and talk things over with your therapist. I think it'd be nice if it was like that in the UK. I think you're talking about well-being. So well-being is very important, and you know, I do practice what I preach. I do practice compassion ideas, and you know, integrate that into my life. I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't. So I do use that. I do look after myself. I am human as well, so obviously I do pull some late nights sometimes if I'm you know, writing a report, I've got some accounts to do. Sometimes I do have the odd late night, but I think, you know, I'm aware of that. So I think self-care is extremely important for entrepreneurs, old or young. You know, you don't need to be successful. You don't need to be driving yourself into the ground and having no sleep and worrying. So I would suggest, and we know from science that if you look after yourself, you're much more productive. So some of the self-care work that I do with people helps them to relax and regulate their emotions, which can help with the with our creativity. It can help with our problem solving, thinking outside of the box. We can't do that if we're stressed. Yes. So it's really important to look after our mental health, because that gets the best out of us, and that'll get the best out of our business. And as you say, I think it's absolutely right. If we're successful at work, if we're successful in our business, that can give us, it should give us more time to spend with our families, or in our free time doing the things that we enjoy doing. So I think we shouldn't be flogging ourselves into the ground to do that. That's the beauty of being your own, having your own business, I think, is not having to do that.
Wow, I like that. I like that, because this we're going on the same direction. So you go into working for yourself so that you can bank that capacity or that freedom of dictating your own calendar.
Yes.
Looking after your well-being,
yep.
Deciding when you want to take the me time. As well as there is another element to you I want us to point on, or you touched on, we are different, diversity. Sometimes we tend to fit the box of everyone else and forgetting ourselves, and forgetting we are bringing diversity to enrich the rest. Or sometimes we suppress our own diversity to fit in. What would you say about compassion and diversity in the society today?
I think for anybody trying to, diversity is really, I mean, I think it's fantastic. I mean, a diverse culture, and working with, I don't get much opportunity. I'm in Cornwall. Cornwall's mostly white British. It's a bit boring, quite frankly. We do have a large Polish community in Cornwall, but very little diversity down here. So I miss that. I used to live in the Midlands, in Birmingham. So working with lots of different people from different backgrounds, around different cultures and religions. So I really miss that down here. But I think people, I think in terms of squashing culture and squashing our identity isn't healthy at all. Trying to fit in isn't healthy. We will all do it to an extent, I guess. People do, as human beings, we don't want to be rejected by our group. So we do try and fit in to an extent. But I think, if it's detrimental to our well-being, it's not very good. So I think it's something to be said for valuing our individuality, valuing what we can all bring to the table. We're all different.
Yeah, we're all different. We're all human.
We're all human. We're the same in that we're human, but we're all different, aren't we, as well? Yeah.
See, it's about celebrating that passion. It's about celebrating that difference. And if you go in business by celebrating that, you're demonstrating your potential, because it's your difference, it's your passion, it's you, Sophie, feeling I want to help, I want to contribute to my society. That's when you want to do what you're doing and what makes you successful today.
I think I'm thinking about diversity and success. So in psychology, it's traditionally been very white, very female, which isn't good. And as clinical psychologists, we're always been interested in how can we increase diversity amongst our workforce. And I've worked at the universities on the selection panels for in bringing new trainees into the profession, but I think it's right back for psychologists, it's right back at the undergraduate level. So in terms of getting diversity in very young, getting a good mix of people in to do the psychology degrees, then you're going to have diversity in my profession. So I think it's important to consider, you know, very, very early on, is about how can diversity be encouraged on university. You know, for my profession, it's on the university programs. But I'm very aware. You know, I mean, had you know, if we're speaking to some of my colleagues, there are very few minority ethnic group psychologists, particularly women. You know, it's a gap in our profession which isn't good. You know, not everybody wants to speak to a white female psychologist.
Yes. Well, I'm here. I'm sure there's a lot of people hearing us. I'm sure people listening to us. That's a call you've put out there. People have to step up.
Please.
Everyone is passionate about having a conversation. Everyone is passionate about having the ear to listen. Because I was reading on your website, your strength is you listen. You are the ears. You're just there to listen, and everyone is capable of doing that. So it's that stepping forward. Well, thank you very much for giving that call out. Well, they say time goes fast when you're having fun. I'm seeing our time is running faster than as planned. And I promise we're going to talk about more fun stuff than just psychology and work. So tell me, in Cornwall, what is it you do apart going on the sea? What else do you do to have fun?
Yeah, so when I'm not, so beauty of working for myself is that, as I say, I can organise my own diary. So I've just taken up running, which doesn't sound much fun, but actually I'm quite enjoying running. It's a really good way for managing my stress and keeping my head clear. So I live in a very rural area, so I run around the countryside near where I work, which is fantastic. I love going to the beach and to the coast, and I'm a cat owner. I own 3 cats. So I'm mad about my cats. Excuse me. And I'm married with 2 young children, so that keeps me very busy with my daughters.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I'll take you up on the challenge of running. Let's do the 10K marathon.
Oh, fantastic.
There is also a run for refugees. There is this during the refugee week it was supposed to be this month, but because of the COVID, I think it was postponed with their events. I think they're doing next month. They were waiting for the Prime Minister to give the announcement of opening up everything. So I think there's going to be that event coming up in Plymouth in a couple of weeks. You don't have to do the whole 10K. You can only do 5 or whatever.
It might kill me. It might kill me, Jabbo. I've just done the 5K. I've just done the couch to 5K. So I went from 0 to 5K. So I'm pleased with that. But who knows? Maybe in a year's time I might be, or a few months' time I might be up there running with you in the 10K.
Oh, in a year we're gonna do the 20K marathon of London. That's where we're going. Oh wow. So any question or any advice you would love to
so
out there?
Well, I was thinking, something that I'm it's been a real challenge, I think, to all businesses. Obviously this year it's been the COVID-19 crisis, and some advice that I've had, I've managed to get through that really well with my business. And I think I used to see people face to face in my therapy room. I had to move very quickly to working online. So I think my advice to people setting up their own business would be to move quickly, to be able to adapt quickly, and not put all your eggs in one basket. So spread your risk. I think the fact that I have quite a diverse portfolio of work allowed me to spread my risk. So when one work area, one source of income dried up, the other one flourished. So I think that's a piece of advice I'd say is quite helpful, and I think in terms of that, which, you know, not only with COVID, but I guess any sort of crises or unexpected things can happen. So spreading your risk, I would say, is a really good thing, and be able to move quickly and adapt to new situations.
Oh, thank you very much for your time, Sophie. It has been an amazing time for having a conversation with you. our half an hour is up, and I hope people will enjoy this conversation, and they'll keep in touch with you. They'll get in touch with you, or they can get in
Please
touch with
do.
us. So if they want to get a conversation with you, and hopefully we'll get to see each other soon.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
All right, you take care and have a
Take care.
wonderful
Bye now.
afternoon. Bye.